Alright, so got some questions about CEVC exhaust pipes, especially on my little GT here. These are kind of an interesting exhaust pipe. They kind of work, not really like a power valve in a two-stroke dirt bike, something similar to that though. They change back pressure based on RPM, so these are kind of floating around on eBay sometimes. I remember I think they were $7 each. I don't know if there's any left. But you can see this purple one on here. When you do find one or get one that's new, you do have to drill a hole in it and put your pressure tap in for your exhaust, because they don't come with that, because they're kind of a universal pipe. They go on either side. This is a new one, and we're gonna bust it open here and look, and they unscrew, and then you got this deal here in the center, and then it's just a cone, right? So you can see there's nothing in there. And then you got this piece. That's kind of the magical, oops, kind of the magical piece here, where it's let's see, do I have anything to go poking around in there with? A screwdriver. So as you can see, thank you, focus. There's a bunch of holes drilled in there, and there's a few that stay open all the time like that at the bottom, so the exhaust can get out while the engine's idling. But when you apply the throttle, this plunger, for frig's sakes, focus, you POS anyways, so that plunger moves and uncovers more holes, which changes the exhaust flow. You could also change your back pressure with these. You can take this cotter pin out and move it down a notch for more back pressure. That means the engine has to work harder to push against that spring, that piston in there. So that might change your torque. It might be better off the line for torque, but not so great up top for higher RPM. Or if you have less back pressure, that's better for RPM. It kind of all depends on how you have your engine tuned and set up. And these do take a little bit of practice to get used to how they work. You can often throw them on some engines and they'll be fine. This engine here wanted it set at the second one down, seems to be where it's happiest. If I set it at the third one down, it seems to be a little bit too much, and it doesn't have very much high RPM. Up here it kind of starves for fuel, but right there it seems to be fine. They did make a Stinger version of this too, which are pretty rare. So you can see it just comes straight out the back. So that would be like if you have the old MIP Stinger pipe like this, that points out the back of your truck like that. These were kind of the CEVC equivalent of that. And you have that guy sticking out the back of your truck. This shares all the same guts as a regular CEVC pipe, so it just comes out the back. I didn't pay that much for it, actually. A friend of mine from Oregon sent this up to me. I think he only paid like 10 bucks for it or something like that. But, yeah, it's kind of a genuine high performance parts. And, looks like they're made in Florida. Right there. Yeah, they're cool kind of retro style pipe anyway, but those of you that have asked before about it, that's kind of how it is. They sound pretty nice. They're double output like that. They are quite loud. The only thing I don't really like is you have to hold both your finger or your thumb over both holes when you pull the engine over to prime it, which is kind of annoying, but other than that, they're pretty nice. They're not anodized, they're actually painted. It's actually like a powder coat paint. So, and always make sure when you're fucking around with these things that you have your cotter pins folded over far enough when you put the thing back together, because if you don't, the cotter pin will hang up in those two Stinger ports there, exhaust outlet ports, whatever you want to call them. Will hang up in there, and they won't be able to get the pipe apart, and you'll end up destroying this thing. And you can't buy this part. It has to come with a pipe. It's threaded too. this camera, POS. Anyways, so another thing is when you go to screw all this back together, screw it in halfway on one side, and then screw it into this half first, halfway, and then reach in there with a screwdriver, like a little one, and grab one of these little ports here to hold it, and then you can screw the back piece on. This guy just makes it a little bit easier. Anyways, that's a little bit about that. This is my 1994 RC10GT. It's a blue tub with a SH18. Got a bunch of stickers on it. Anyways, that'll be all for now, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. There's going to be a new motor on the way here soon. Hopefully it's here in the next day or two. Coming all the way from Hong Kong, but it's Italian made. Anyways, we'll see. Right on, guys. Keep burning nitro as always.